The rain was hammering the glass wall of the cafe like it wanted to break in and drown me. I sat there, soaked from head to toe, clutching the only thing I had left of my old life, a tiny silver locket with a cracked photo inside. My name is Rashua. 24 years old, no family, no home, and a secret so heavy it felt like it was sitting on my chest, stopping me from breathing properly. I had just run out of the orphanage I'd been working at for 3 years because someone had finally found out who I really was. And now the richest man in the city, the one they call the Ice King, was walking straight toward my table. He didn't have an umbrella. His black coat was dripping, his dark hair stuck to his forehead, but those gray eyes, they looked like a storm that had decided to live inside a human. Everyone in the cafe went quiet. Phones came out. Because Shehar Khan never went anywhere without bodyguards, never spoke to strangers, and definitely never looked at anyone the way he was looking at me right now. He stopped in front of me, water pooling at his Italian leather shoes, and said the 6 words that turned my whole world upside down. Rashua, I'm madly in love with you. I laughed. A broken, ugly laugh. Because the last time someone said they loved me, I was 7, and they left me on the steps of an orphanage with nothing but this locket and a lie. You don't even know me, I whispered. His jaw tightened. I know everything about you. And you're going to hate me for it. Then he did something no one expected from the coldest billionaire in the country. He knelt. Right there on the wet floor. In front of everyone. And opened his palm. In it was a key. Old. Brass. Exactly like the one I wore around my neck every single day, the one that opened a lock I'd never found. My heart stopped. Because that key, only one other person in the world had its twin. My father. The man who abandoned me 17 years ago. And the man whose real name was Shehar Khan. Shehar Khan was my brother. The cafe spun. My ears rang. I stood up so fast the chair fell back with a crash. You're lying, I said, backing away. I wish I was, he answered, voice cracking for the first time. But I've been looking for you for 17 years, Rashua. And now that I found you, I can't let you disappear again. That was the moment my life broke open. And this is our story. I want you to stay till the very end, because what happened next, the secrets, the tears, the forgiveness, the love that grew where no one thought it could, will make you believe that even the coldest hearts can melt, and even the most broken families can find their way back home. So grab your chai, get comfortable, and if this story touches even one corner of your heart, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell, because stories like this, they only live when we share them. Let's begin. Hashtag Chapter 1, The Girl with No Last Name. I grew up believing my name was just Rashua. No binti anyone, no family name, nothing. The orphanage aunties said my father dropped me off in the middle of the night with a note that said, "Take care of her. Don't look for me." That note was gone by morning. They said he took it back. Like he regretted even leaving those words. I was a quiet child. The kind who sat in corners and watched everyone else get adopted. Pretty girls with dimples went first. Boys who could play cricket went next. I had messy hair, big eyes that looked scared all the time, and a locket I never took off. No one wanted a girl who came with mysteries. But I had one friend. Zaimel. She was 3 years older, loud where I was quiet, fearless where I was terrified. She protected me from the bigger kids, shared her one sweater with me in winter, and every night she whispered, "One day, Rashua, we'll run away and find your dad. And I'll punch him for you." Zaimel got adopted when I was 12. A rich family from London. She cried so hard the night before she left. She made me promise to keep the locket safe. "That's the only clue you have," she said. "One day it'll open the door to everything." After she left, I stopped talking for almost a year. I grew up fast. At 18, I started working at the same orphanage, cleaning, cooking, teaching little ones their ABCs. I told myself, if no one wants me, I'll take care of the ones no one wants. That was my purpose. That was enough. Until 6 months ago. That's when the nightmares started. Every night, the same dream, a huge iron gate, a mansion on fire, a man running with a little girl in his arms, shouting, I'm sorry, as he puts me down on cold steps and disappears into the rain. I started waking up screaming. The kids got scared. The matron said I needed help. Then one day, a new donor visited the orphanage, tall, silent, wearing sunglasses indoors. He stood in the doorway and stared at me for so long the matron asked if something was wrong. He left without saying a word. 2 weeks later, someone hacked the orphanage records. My file, the one that only said Rashua, father unknown, was opened 47 times in one night. I knew someone was looking for me. I just never imagined it would be him. Hashtag Chapter 2, The Ice King. Everyone in the city knew Ahil Sheryar Khan. 32 years old. CEO of Khan Enterprises. Net worth people couldn't even count properly. He owned half the skyline, 3 private jets, and a reputation colder than December nights. They said he fired a COO for breathing too loudly in a meeting. They said he hadn't smiled since he was 15. They said his own mother was scared to call him. And they said he was alone. No wife. No girlfriend. No friends. Just an empire and ghosts. I had seen him on billboards. Never thought I'd see him on his knees in a roadside cafe. After he showed me the key, I ran. I ran through the rain, through traffic, through people shouting my name. I didn't stop until I reached the tiny rented room I shared with 3 other girls. I locked the door, fell on the floor, and cried like I was 7 years old again. How could he be my brother? My father left me. If Ahil was his son, why didn't he come with him that night? Why did he let me grow up alone while he grew up with everything? My phone started ringing. Unknown number. I ignored it. It rang again. And again. Then a text. Unknown, please, Rashua. 5 minutes. I'll wait in the car outside your building. Black Range Rover. I just want to talk. I looked out the window. There it was. Tinted windows. Engine running. Rain pouring on the roof like bullets. I don't know why I went down. Maybe because I was tired of running. Maybe because a tiny, broken part of me wanted to know why. He was standing outside the car, getting soaked on purpose. When he saw me, his shoulders sagged like he'd been holding his breath for years. I won't come closer if you don't want me to, he said softly. I stayed near the building door. Start talking. He took a shaky breath. 17 years ago, our father made the worst mistake of his life. He chose money over family. There was a scandal, embezzlement, threats, enemies. He thought if he disappeared, they'd leave us alone. He took me to London, changed our names, built everything from scratch. He told me you died in a car accident with our mother. He lied to me for 15 years. I laughed bitterly. And you believed him? I was 10, Rashua. I believed everything he said. Then 2 years ago, I found a safe in his study. Inside was your birth certificate. Your photo. The orphanage address. And a letter he never sent you. He reached into his coat slowly and pulled out a yellowed envelope. My name was written on it in handwriting I would recognize anywhere, because it matched the tiny note I kept hidden in my locket. I took 1 step forward. Then another. My hands shook so badly I could barely open it. Inside was a single page. My dearest Rashua. If you're reading this, I failed you twice. First when I left you, second when I couldn't come back. I'm a coward. But your brother isn't. Ahil is better than me in every way. If he ever finds you, trust him. He's the only good thing I ever gave the world. Forgive me if you can. Your failure of a father. Shehar. I read it 3 times. Then I looked up at Ahil. Rain was streaming down his face like tears he wouldn't let fall. I confronted him, he said quietly. He had a stroke that night. He's been in a coma for 18 months. The doctors say he might never wake up. The only thing he ever says in his sleep is your name. My knees gave out. Ahil caught me before I hit the ground. I looked for you every day since I found that letter, he whispered against my hair. I hacked systems, bribed officials, followed every girl with your name. When I saw you in that orphanage courtyard, I knew. You have Ami's eyes. Exactly. I cried into his soaked coat. For the mother I never knew. For the father who left. For the brother who spent 17 years thinking I was dead. Chapter 3, The Weight of Being Found. The weeks that followed were a blur. Ahil wanted to fix everything with money. A new apartment. New clothes. A bank account with more zeros than I'd ever seen. I said no. I spent 17 years without a family, I told him. I'm not trading my soul for one now. So we made a deal. I would move into the staff quarters of his mansion, not the main house. I would keep my job at the orphanage. I would let him be in my life, slowly. But being Ahil Khan's sister wasn't easy. The media went insane. Mystery heir found after 17 years. Billionaire's secret sister. Paparazzi camped outside the orphanage. Someone leaked my old photos, the ones where I looked dirty and scared. People called me a gold digger. Said I planned it all. Ahil wanted to sue everyone. I told him to let them talk. They don't know what it's like to sleep hungry, I said. Let them say whatever makes them sleep better at night. But the hardest part wasn't the world. It was learning how to love a brother who felt guilty every time he looked at me. He left notes on my door every morning. I ordered biryani. Too much for one person. Join me if you want. I found Ami's old recipe book. Thought you might like to see her handwriting. I booked the whole cinema. No pressure. Just, if you ever want to watch a movie with someone who annoys you less than the world. I smiled at every single one. Slowly, I started replying. I left a plate of orphanage-style and a shamie outside his study when I knew he hadn't eaten all day. I put a post-it on his laptop, stop working at 3 a.m. or I'll hide your coffee. One night, I found him sitting on the roof, staring at the city lights. Couldn't sleep? I asked. He shook his head. Every time I close my eyes, I see 10-year-old me crying because Abba said you were gone forever. I keep thinking, if I had been braver, louder, maybe I would have made him tell me the truth sooner. I sat next to him. You were a child, Ahil. So were you, he said, voice breaking. And you suffered more. I took his hand. We're here now. That has to count for something. He turned to me, eyes red. I used to think love was a weakness. That's why I became this. He gestured at the city below. Cold. Untouchable. But you make me want to be human again, Rashua. I rested my head on his shoulder. For the first time in 17 years, I didn't feel alone. Chapter 4, The Fire That Took Everything. 3 months later, everything almost ended. Our father woke up from the coma. The first thing he did was ask for me. Ahil flew us to London the same day. Private jet. I had never been on a plane before. I held his hand the whole way like a scared little girl. The man in the hospital bed looked nothing like the monster in my nightmares. He was thin, gray, broken. When he saw me, he started crying so hard the machines beeped. Rashua, Mary Bachi. I wanted to hate him. I really did. But when he reached for my hand with shaking fingers and whispered, "I never stopped loving you," I just didn't know how to be a father. Something inside me cracked open. Ahil stood in the corner, arms crossed, eyes hard. Abba looked at him. "I stole your sister from you. I stole both your childhoods. I don't deserve forgiveness." Ahil's voice was ice. "You don't." Then he walked out. I stayed. Every day for 2 weeks, I sat with the man who abandoned me. He told me everything, how our mother died in childbirth, how the business enemies threatened to kill us all, how he thought leaving me in Pakistan was the only way to keep me safe, how every birthday he lit a candle and cried alone. I listened. I cried. I got angry. I cried again. On the last day, he pressed something into my hand, our mother's wedding ring. "She would have loved you so much," he whispered. "Both of you." He died that night. Peacefully. Holding my hand. Ahil didn't cry at the funeral. He stood like a statue while I sobbed into his coat. When it was over, he said, "He doesn't get to hurt you anymore." I looked up at him. He already did. But he also gave me you. And that's worth something. For the first time, Ahil broke. He hugged me so tightly I couldn't breathe, and cried like the 10-year-old boy who lost his little sister all those years ago. Chapter 5, Building a New Family. We came home different people. Ahil shut down the toxic parts of the business Abba had built on lies. He started a foundation in our mother's name, for abandoned girls. He made me co-founder. Said it was mine more than his. I moved into the main house. Not as a guest. As family. We fought like real siblings. He hated that I still took the bus sometimes. I hated that he worked until he collapsed. But every night, we ate dinner together. No phones. No assistants. Just us. 1 year later, on my 25th birthday, Ahil blindfolded me and took me to the orphanage. When he removed the cloth, I saw it, the entire building renovated, a new wing with my mother's name on it, and every single child holding a balloon. Zaimel was there too. My old friend from childhood. Ahil had found her in London and flown her back. She ran to me, crying. "You promised we'd find your dad one day." We did. And look, he gave you a brother instead. That night, Ahil gave me one last gift. He took me to the family graveyard. Our mother's grave was there, cleaned and covered in roses. Next to it, a new headstone. It had my name on it. Rashua Sheryar Khan. Beloved daughter and sister. 1999, blank. I looked at him, confused. He smiled, the first real smile I'd ever seen on his face. "You were never just Rashua. You always had a family name. I had it added today. So the world knows. So you know. You were never alone." I fell to my knees and cried happy tears for the first time in my life. Epilogue, the message. If you're still here, thank you. If you've ever felt alone, unwanted, broken, please remember Rashua's story. And remember, no matter how cold the world gets, there's always someone, somewhere, whose heart is burning just to find you. See you in the next story.